Hey guys, I'm Desikan and today's video is going to be a brush set review video. This is one of the most requested videos on my channel. So the brush set I'm going to be talking about in today's video is Cuffs and Lashes. These are a set of 14 brushes and this retails for around 1600 or 1700. I will leave it on the screen right here. And I also went ahead and got another very affordable brush set that is from Swiss Beauty, which I'll be talking about in just a bit. So firstly, I'll start talking about the Cuffs and Lashes brush set. I'll talk about the eye brushes first because that's the order I would do my makeup, and then talk about the face brushes. So the first one is the number 001 brush, which is like a tiny fan brush you can use to highlight underneath your eyebrows, on the tip of your nose if you want a more precise highlighter, or if you have like some highlighter all over your cheek and you wanted to use a lighter shade just to add a little bit of like a pop of color, then you can take this and add a more precise highlighter just on the high points of your cheek. But this is not a brush that I use quite often because you guys know I'm not a very big fan of fan brushes, and I just don't even really highlight my brow bone or anything of that sort. So if I really had to highlight the bridge of my nose, I just use my normal highlighting brush. I don't really use a brush like this, and I'm not sure how many people would find use out of it. If you are someone who really likes this kind of a brush, I think you would really like it and find use out of it, of course. The next brush that I have is the number 002 brush, which is an angled liner brush. So it has an angled liner tip this side and it has a spoolie on the other side. So this one you can use this to apply your gel eyeliner, even if you have to apply like a black eyeshadow, brown eyeshadow towards your lashes, very close precise line, you can still do that. You can also use this to fill in your brows if you're using a brow pomade, and because you get a spoolie you can always brush it in. If you have a liner angled brush and if you don't really have a spoolie with it, I don't think it makes much of a sense. So this way you get it like a multi-purpose product, and you can also use this to apply lipstick like more precisely towards the outer part. If you are like me and have like jittery, shaky hands, I do that all the time. I use like an angle liner brush to get a more precise line because the shape of the lipstick changes over time, and some lipsticks are not shaped in a way it's convenient to apply that outer line. So this works for that. So the next brush is E003, which is a flat shader brush. It's more like a stout looking brush, which is kind of packed, densely packed right here. It's kind of short, and this one I think was made to pack on your shimmer eyeshadows, but for me it doesn't really pick up the product that well even if I wet the brush. So I prefer using my fingers in that case. And also, even if I have to like apply color onto the lower lash line, there are other brushes from this set that I really like. So again, this brush I'm not a very big fan of. And then moving on to the brush number 004, which is again a flat shader brush, but this one is a little bit longer than the previous one. Let me show it to you guys so you can see. So this is a little bit shorter, the bristles, and this one is a little bit longer. So again, this is again to pick up loose pigments, eyeshadows, shimmers, anything that you want. But this brush picks up the product pretty well, but not to the extent that I like. So I have these really affordable brushes right here. Let me show it to you guys. So these are from like the brand Gub, and this is from Babila. You guys can see how thin they are, but they're not as densely packed. If you see this Cuffs and Lashes brushes next to this, you would see how thick this one is as compared to these brushes. They don't really have that much of a density, so they pick up the shimmer eyeshadows really well, and even if you have to cut your crease, everything, it works really well. And these are so affordable, like 75 rupees, 60 rupees. So those are the brushes that I really like, or I just use my fingers. And this one again, it works pretty well. I wouldn't say it's a completely waste kind of a brush, like no use out of it, but it doesn't pack as much. Okay, next moving on to brushes that I really like. Okay, so the brush number 006, which is like a pencil brush, also like a short, like tapered blending brush. So you can use this to pack on color to your outer corner. You can't really use this to blend because it doesn't have that much of a fluff to it, but you can apply color to your outer corner and also drag that in your lower lash line. If you wanted to diffuse some color in your lower lash line, this would work really well, and I really like it. It packs the color just the way you would want it to, and it looks beautiful and blended. And then moving on to the next brush, which is E005, which is like this kind of a blending brush, and this one you can apply your initial transition color, like a light wash of color all over your crease, which is not too intense. Okay, but if you want to make it intense, you can still do that with this. It depends on how much you're going to pick up, how much you're going to tap off, how you're going to hold the brush. So it works both ways if you want to pack on color or just have like a light wash of color and also blend the eyeshadow really well. Like, it gives you that space. So I really like this one. It works very well and just packs on the color just the way I want it to. And then the brush number E007, which is also like a blend. I would like to say like a pencil brush, but a little bit of a bigger version compared to the brush number 006, which I also called to be a pencil brush. You guys can see this is a little bit more tapered, this is a little bit more fluffier. So if you wanted to add a little bit of color, say if you're making a cut crease kind of a look, so you wanted a more intense color towards your crease, you can do that with this one. So you can pick up just the right amount of color and add it to your crease itself. Because you see people do those cut crease looks, right? So if you wanted to add, like I say, a stark red eyeshadow or pink eyeshadow, you can add that right into your crease and it will be packed. You don't really have to keep picking up more and more product. The first dip itself, you get enough amount of color on your eyes. And then moving on to the brush number 008, which is more like a tapered blending brush. Works really well to pack color, to blend, also to blend your outer corner. If you want to add a little bit of color and blend it, works really well for that as well. I really like this brush. It just blends the eyeshadow look so well. And even if you're doing your cut crease and you initially applied a lot of color with this, but you want to get it a little bit more blended, but more precise blend, you get that with this brush number 008, which is your tapered blending brush. So you apply the color more precisely with this, then blend it with this one. I have done a very simple tutorial with these brushes, so I'm not sure how much of the demo you can understand, but I'm just giving you guys, like, if you're well aware of like cut creases and all that, I'm just giving you guys like tips. And then the last eye brush that we have is E009, which is like a more concentrated blending brush, like a concealer blending brush. So if you want to apply, I can't believe I called it a concentrated blending brush, because that's how I feel, because it concentrates the color on your lid. If you want to apply like a matte eyeshadow all over your lid and just get that blend, like this one color eyeshadow which I do right now, this brush would do it for you. It will pack that matte eyeshadow all over your lid and you can get it to blend as well. So this one eyeshadow look. And if you want to conceal your eyelids before you start off with eyeshadow, you can use this one. It just blends the concealer really well because it's a little bit thick and fluffy, but has good blending capacity. So all these eye brushes, these blending brushes are on point. The pencil brushes are some of my favorite. In fact, they just pack the color the way you want to. They blend the color the way you want to. Does a really good job. Then moving on to some face brushes. So the first one is this one, which is like a fan brush for your highlight. This one, it depends on how you're going to pick the product. So if you're going to take it with a very light hand and then like apply it very lightly, it has a light wash of color, but you can intensify it. I'm not a very big fan of fan brushes. The kind of brushes that I really like, I have right here. So one is this tapered brush from Wet n Wild. This is their Pro Line brush or something like this. This is from Real Techniques. This is also their tapered blending brush. I have something from Wet n Wild, which is very similar to the Real Techniques brush as well in shape. So these are the ones that I like, because if I want to add a light wash of color, I can do that. If I want intensified, I can still do that. And I can also get that one to blend because it has the right amount of fluff. Sometimes I even use a brush as big as this. This is a Puna Store brush. So what happens when you use a highlighting brush is that you can apply it, but I never get it to blend really well, and it always looks like a line. I'm not a very big fan of this brush, but I know a lot of people who really do enjoy that brush. So if you are someone who really likes it, then I think you will really enjoy it and it wouldn't seem like it's of no use to you. And then moving on to the brush number 011. This one is a concealer brush. Works really well because it has that angle, so you can get right in your inner corner and blend the concealer. It doesn't make it look streaky. It is not scratchy underneath your eyes. I detest brushes that are very scratchy and pokey, because the minute you get it underneath your eye, it starts pricking and then there's like waterfall, you know, all over your makeup, and your makeup is wrecked just because of a brush. So that doesn't happen with this, and it's also so precise and small that you would have done your eye makeup and then you're doing your face makeup and you're blending your concealer. It doesn't get the concealer on your eyes. So if you have any eyeshadow, it doesn't wreck that. So that's what I really like, and it's so precise and perfect underneath your eyes. And also if you want to apply concealer around your nose and crevices of your face, it's really nice for that. I really like the shape of this. It's a beautiful concealer brush. So then moving on to the brush number 12, which is a angled contour brush. This works really well if you want to chisel out your cheekbones, apply a little bit of contour, powder contour, cream contour. It blends it really well. But in today's demo, you guys will see that I am blending my blush with this sort of a angled brush because I really like it for that. Every time I want to apply a blush, I use this one because it looks small, okay, but it gets the job done because it has that slanty edge to it, that slanty side to it. So it's perfect to apply blush, especially for me who I like to curve the blush around my cheek like this. So I can blend the blush and also curve it around like that. So it works really well for blush as well. Usually people would prefer a more bigger brush like this one for blush, but this still works. So if you want to add a little bit of like bronzer, contour and blush, it works really well for all of that. So it's a multi-purpose brush, and also you can apply powder with this for all over your face. So this brush works in multiple ways. And then moving on to the next brush, which is the brush number 013, which is a powder brush. This one works just for powder alone. You can't use this for anything else. It's not a multitasking brush because it's not very densely packed where you can pick up any other product to blend it. So what this one does is it's good for your pressed powder, like a compact powder or your loose powder. So if you want to set it all over your face and everything, it works really well for that. So it depends on how you're going to pick the product. So if I'm using a powder, I just dip it very lightly and then apply it, and it sets it really well. But if you want to like swirl your brush in, it still does that job of setting your foundation really well with this brush. But other than that, you can't really use this for bronzer because it doesn't have that tapered edge to it. You can't really use this for blush because it's not dense enough to blend the blush on your face. So that's just a powder brush, that's it. Then moving on to my favorite, if I can call, my favorite brush from this set is the foundation brush. This is in the number 014. So the reason I really like this is first when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I don't think I'm going to like it because I'm so used to certain kind of brushes for my foundation, right? So this is the Pack 252 brush, which is like a flat top kabuki brush. I don't know why my tongue is rolling so kabuki brush. So this is a flat top kabuki brush, and this one is from Pro Art. This is their AK42 puffing brush. So I'm so used to these kind of like fluffy, thick brushes that this brush seems so skinny in front of that, and I'm like, okay, is this even going to do the job? But I love this brush. So firstly, it's angled, so it fits right on your face. You can blend it however you want to, but you can't really buff this in. You have to drag it in like that. But it blends the foundation really well. No streaks, no marks on your face, no shedding at all. And also, irrespective of the consistency of the foundation, it blends it really well without leaving any like stark, streaky marks on your face. And I also use this for concealer underneath my eyes sometimes because I'm so lazy to use that brush. I just need a bigger brush to get the job done. So concealer underneath my eyes, over my eyelids, everything, this brush does it. So this is a really nice brush. Sometimes, you know, for liquid foundation, I always drop it behind my hand and then grab it with the brush and then apply it. But for cream, like pot foundations, what I do is I usually use a flat foundation brush, apply it all over my face, and then take those fluffy blending brushes and then blend all over my face. But with this, you don't really have to do that because it picks even that cream product so well. You can apply it like that and then blend it. So it's not so much of a deal breaker for a lot of people, but for me it is because I don't really want to go around looking for different brushes and be like, oh, I forgot to get this brush, because sometimes you don't really have everything when you're getting ready and you have to get up and go 100 times. So for that purpose, I feel like this does, even picking up the product really well, just apply that and then blend it all over so well. Such a beautiful brush. If I had to speak so much about this particular brush, it does really make it for me, like make the cut for me. So overall, what do I think about this brush set? So it's like you get 14 brushes for around 1,600 rupees. So okay, I can see on the Cuffs and Lashes website that this brush set retails for 2,200 rupees, but there's always a discount and this retails for 1,800 rupees. Each brush is around 165 rupees, even if you have to buy it individually or in a set. So maybe if you buy it individually, I'm not sure how much it would add up to, but you pick the brushes that you really would find use out of, would like, and then you can make your own custom set. But if you buy it in a set, you get all these products and you might not really use some of these brushes. Like for me personally, the fan brush doesn't work for me. The shading brushes could have been better, and also the fan brush is something that I would definitely avoid if I had to buy these brushes individually. But I will try to add a price right here if I had to exclude those 4 brushes and see how much the price would come up to. But if you can save a little bit of money, I would say buy those brushes individually. But if it's a lot more cheaper if you buy it in a set, then buy the set. So overall, it's a really nice brush set. I get a lot of use out of all the other brushes. I have been reaching out for those so much, especially the foundation brush is my absolute favorite. The concealer brush, the eyeshadow blending brushes, they're so good. And these brushes are made in India, and this is a woman-owned business, woman-owned brand. Nidhi is the owner of this brand, and she's done such a good job in creating such amazing brushes. You have to give it to them. It's really nice. I'm not disappointed with it at all. I have washed these a couple of times. There's no shedding, and so far everything is intact and so good. It depends on how you're going to store them for the rest of the time, and also how you wash and store your brushes as well. Like when you let them dry, like how you're going to keep the brushes, the angle matters a lot, because you should not let the water get back into the ferrule. That will destroy the brush, and eventually the ferrule and the brush handle will get a little bit loose and it will fall apart. So always store it this way so that the water drains out like this, and that's it. And be gentle with the brushes when you're washing, but I am not someone who's gentle with my brushes. I am a little bit like with my brushes. So with that being said, I really like these brushes and I would highly recommend you guys to check them out. I know they have come up with some more brush sets. I will probably buy those in the future and review those as well. And now moving on to Swiss Beauty. So in this you get 6 brushes, and this retails for 7.99 rupees, but you can always find this on a discount on purple.com, so many other websites for 640 rupees. So you get a set. Okay, this is what the set looks like. Look at the packaging, it looks really nice. This is what drew me to the brush set, in fact, because it looked so nice, packaged really well. I mean, your eye speaks before anything else, like before logic or anything. So it's really nice that they have you drawn to it through that packaging. So then let's move on now. Okay, yeah, with all that packaging and all, it's fine. Do the brushes really work? Let's find out. So let me start talking about the eye brushes first. So these are the eye brushes that you get. Let me take them out. So I actually used them and put them back into this box because I wanted to show you guys how it looked. Because that's also one of the points, right? Like you've got it in that set and you want to show it like that. So the first brush I'm going to be talking about is the concealer brush. This is the F03. Now this one is sort of like a pointed concealer brush. You can't blend your concealer with this, but I think the point that they added this one is for like cut crease. If you wanted to add concealer and like cut your crease, it might do the job. But the point where it's supposed to cut your crease is a little bit bent like that, and it's not very sturdy where it can cut your crease. I have a brush from ProArt which is also very affordable. This is the PF01 brush. I have mentioned about this brush in detail, shown you guys demo. I will link it right here. This brush in fact does a much better job in cutting your crease and also to apply concealer all over your lid. Just for your information, FYI. So then moving on to the next brush. This is what they call an eyeshadow blender brush, but you cannot blend your eyeshadow with this because it's a really small brush. It's more like a pencil brush. So that's exactly what I use this for as well, to apply color onto your lower lash line, like a more stark color, not so much of a blended effect, but more stark color. If you want it to be seen, you can apply that with this, but you can't blend anything with this. You can't really use this for your upper lids. It wouldn't even blend the eyeshadow. Maybe to pat, yes, but you have to use other brushes to blend that. And then the next brush is this one. This is the eyeshadow applicator brush F05. Again, very thick to pick up the eyeshadow and to apply it as an eyeshadow applicator brush. It is a little bit too thick for that. So what I like to use this for is to apply like a more wash of color in my lower lash line, like to diffuse the color, to blend it. That's what I like this for. To apply eyeshadow, it's a little bit too thick, wouldn't pick up the shimmer pigments that well. So that's about that brush. And then we have an angled liner brush, which you can use for your eyeliner, for your eyeshadow, just like the one from Cuffs and Lashes. But this one is a little bit more thicker than the one from Cuffs and Lashes. So might be a more thicker liner application. and even for your lips, even if you have to line your lips, it is a little bit thick, so you might not get the precision you would want to, but you can manage with this, and it also comes with a spool. And then in my perspective, the eyeshadow brushes were a fail because you don't really get any blending brush, you don't really get an eyeshadow applicator brush, so you just get two of like pencil brushes in this, as opposed to like an eyeshadow applicator brush or like a blending brush. So I wish they had actually done that, like added like a fluffy blending brush or tapered blending brush. That would actually make it a complete set. So they could have just omitted this brush and just made it like a flat shader brush, and then I added like a pencil brush, a more fluffy crease brush, the liner brush. It would have made a complete eyeshadow brush set, but that's where it failed. And then let's move on to the face brushes. So the first one I have is the foundation blender brush. This is the F06. It's not as big as my pack 252, but it still does the job. It's the same flat top kabuki brush, blends the foundation really well, doesn't make it as streaky, and it does a pretty decent job depending on the consistency of the foundation. If the consistency is very runny, then it does get a little bit streaky, so you have to just keep that in mind. But if you're using something like the Too Faced Born This Way foundation or the LA Girl or Lakme foundation, it blends it really well. Lakme, the matte foundation is what I'm talking about. So it does a pretty good job with that. And so you can probably use that just for your foundation and concealer. It's a little bit big for your concealer, but you can still get a decent blend out of it. And then this is the Swiss Beauty compact brush. This is called F02 compact brush. This is more like a tapered powder brush. So you can apply your bronzer with this, more precise application. You can also use this for powder all over your face. And you can also use this to blend your blush. Yes, I tried it with blush as well, and it blends the blush pretty well because it has a little bit of a density to it. It's not as fluffy as the Cups and Lashes brushes. So you guys can see it is a little bit more dense than that, and it has a little bit of that tapered ending. So that's where you can use this for bronzer, and it does a pretty good job. So overall, I feel like this brush set could have been so much better if at all they changed the eyeshadow brushes, because then it would have made a complete set and just this would have sufficed for a lot of people. But if you just got the set hoping that this is the only thing you would need to create an entire look, I think you'd be wrong. You'd need a lot of other brushes to just get that blend right and for eyeshadow application and everything. But the face brushes are really nice, and they sell these two face brushes individually as well for really affordable price, for like around 200 or 250, and you can find it on discount most of the time. So I would recommend getting just the two face brushes individually as opposed to the set itself. That's what I have to say about the set in total. So yeah, I've been talking for a really long time. I hope I covered everything you guys wanted to know. And over the two brush sets, I would recommend the Cups and Lashes brush set because you get a lot of work for your money. Even if you are a beginner or you're someone who doesn't really have a lot of brushes, this brush set in total would suffice, and you get a pretty decent eyeshadow look out of it. You can get your makeup to blend really well. You can make your makeup look really nice. So this brush set would suffice your needs as opposed to the Swiss Beauty brush set. So yeah, let me know what other brush sets you want me to review from any other brand, any unknown brands, like brands that not a lot of people talk about but make affordable brush sets, even from Amazon or anything. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you have tried any of these brush sets or anything even more affordable that you guys are like, okay Deepthi, you need to check out this because you love brushes and you should be checking this out. I will do so. So yeah, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.